Hello, championship viewers. How you doing today? Welcome to the very first installment of Knockout Interviews presented by Championship Real Estate. I'm Mike Kehoe, and this is the show where our guests share with you their very best and their very worst real estate experiences so you can learn from their experiences and apply it to your very own investing careers, whether you're just getting started or you're already in the game. With us today, we have John Cohen. How you doing, John?
Not bad. How about yourself, my friend?
Pretty good. Nice to have you on the show today. A little about John. John is based out of Long Island, New York, and he is the co-founder of Toro Real Estate Partners. John, do you want to give us a little bit more about your background and what you're focused on now?
Sure. So a little bit about me. I started my career in finance. Prior to that, I played baseball in college, and education, I would say, wasn't necessarily the focus of what I went to college for. It was on the baseball side. And when I got out of school, more or less, my mom said, get a job or get out of the house.
As many mothers do.
Exactly. So it was an easy decision. It was get a job. And she actually had an article cut out of the paper, and it was for a stockbroker. And basically, I took that as, okay, let's give it a shot. So I started my career in finance, got licensed Series 7, Series 63, and went that route. And then about 3 years later, 2.5 years later, I wasn't really in love with it. Luckily I was good at my job, but it was a job. And I was coming in every single morning, just hating it. And while I was going to work, I was sitting on my computer and I'm reading about real estate and wanting to get involved in real estate. And it sort of was it became a passion. And throughout my last, I would say, year and a half, when I was working there, I decided, let's start dabbling in real estate and testing out the market and see what I can do. And I literally just went out, picked up some books, read it, and went and did it. In the interim, I was in the middle of a career shift. I didn't want to work at the small Long Island firm anymore. Mm-hmm. So I did Morgan Stanley. It was a 9-month interview process.
Wow.
Got hired. Walked into the interview and literally went to my boss and said, thank you very much, but I don't want to do this, and walked out. So
wow.
I walked out the day that I finally walked into work, and what are you doing? Why would you spend 9 months
right.
going through an interview process?
Right.
I was like, listen, with all due respect, it was, I really appreciate it. I was 22, 23 years old at the time, and called my mom, told her I quit. She called me crazy. Then she asked what I wanted to do. I said, I want to be a real estate investor. And she's like, oh, so like a real estate agent? I said, no, not really.
Yeah.
A little bit different.
Not quite.
And that sort of just got me started. Pretty typical course. Went out, got my real estate license, because real estate investors don't make much money out of the box, especially when they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
I started doing rentals and sales in the city. Relatively successful, sold about 56, or rented and sold about 56 apartments my first year, mostly on the rental side. Sold a couple apartments, and then got my, went over the commercial side, was an investment sales broker for Marcus and Millichap, selling multifamilies in Ridgewood, Bushwick, and Bed-Stuy. And then, I parlayed that up into the syndication business, which we focus on now, which is, 150, 250 units or more multifamily properties in emerging markets in the South. In the Midwest.
Very cool. And so that's what you're working on now.
Yes. So what we focus on now is definitely multifamily properties, typically B and C stuff in the Southeast with a value add component of some sort, if those deals even exist in today's market. The market's tight. But we're focused on the multifamily side. We've dabbled in some other stuff. We're looking at some office space and some other stuff, but our main focus, we have 1,500 units under management, just about $80 million, with another 450 scheduled to close in the next 60 days. And that's all multifamily,
great.
C-class stuff in the Southeast and the Midwest.
So what are your preferred markets?
It's a good question. So I think right now more than ever, you got to be focused, but you can't discount something without doing a little bit more research, because the deal flow is a little bit weaker. So sometimes the markets they love, we love Columbus, Ohio. We love Charleston, South Carolina, Greenville, South Carolina, Charlotte, Raleigh, North Carolina. But everybody loves market.
Right.
So in today's market, sometimes you got to be a little bit more flexible, a little bit more willing to look at different fundamental. Say, it's super submarket specific for the most part. Regionally, the Southeast is very big on our radar. South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee,
Right.
Alabama. That's where we spend a lot of our time recently. And then more from a regional perspective, then we only buy in Charleston, South Carolina. I think it's just a little bit hard to come across deal flow if you focusing on one market, you're not willing to.
Very cool. Very cool. So that sounds great. Now, just to give you an idea, the way for today and all of our future episodes, we ask our guests to share with the championship viewers 2 very memorable experiences in their investing careers. Are you ready to jump into the main event?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Well, first up, tell our viewers about a knockout deal that you've done and absolutely loved, and why.
So that's a great segue because we're actually getting ready to sell an 80 unit down in Charleston, South Carolina.
Awesome.
It was a property. We bought the property in March of 2016, so about a year and a half ago. It was 72 units out of 80. It was a fractured condo, and we purchased the property. We bought the 72 out of the 80 units with a business plan to acquire the remaining 8 units. On top of acquiring the 8 units, we wanted to do an exterior value add and interior renovation. When we bought the property, the average rent was about $850. We went in and we did, the new vinyl plank flooring, new lighting package, so some new hardware, new finishes, and we did that on all the units in about a little over a year. And then on top of that, we blew out the amenities. We put a dog park, brand new clubhouse, brand new pool area, new grilling station, new pergola, and the property is beautiful. It was a 2005 built property. The seller was in distress. He was about to go into foreclosure. So it was a real opportunity. We had to move quickly. We moved quickly. Through the initial period of time when the bank was lending on it, at the 25th hour, we had a lender call us back and said, we're never going to be able to lend you the money that we thought you could lend. We're not going to be able to do this. So we had to, assemble quickly. We went back to a couple other lenders that knew that we were looking at the deal. And out of Boston came in and gave us an amazing loan. We couldn't say no. And we grabbed that. The equity actually went down than what we originally budgeted. And we bought the property. The reason why I'm so proud of it is probably my best deal. Not only are the returns excellent, which, I had one of the investors ask me, is this typical? Do you typically undersell it and over deliver? I was like, this is a little, this is a little bit, we definitely got help with the market, but we took the property from an average rent of $850 to $1,150 in about 15 months.
Wow. That's great.
6 of the 8 condos. We have one condo where the guy's actually going to go we're foreclosing on him because he hasn't paid his HOA fees. And the other guy's a seller out of California that we're negotiating with. We're going to pay what he wants because we know it adds value to our property to own it. So we're going to buy back that property, and we just delivered a really good product. We completely turned the demographic of the tenants. We took it all to a much better quality tenant, and it's a property that it's one of those properties that you drive by and you feel proud, and you can walk investors through, and you drive through, and it's like, yeah, I own this. And our management team was absolutely amazing. What they did on site, and as quick as we did it, was just ridiculous. I mean, we suffered on occupancy. We didn't run that 95% for the life of the deal. We dropped down into the low 80s, which, part of that, in the initial couple months, you're like a little, are we going to be able to make that? But we came out on top, and we've been told by brokers that, the clubhouse renovation we did is one of the nicest in Charleston. And
wow, great.
We just delivered everything we thought we were going to do. And, more of the high level numbers, we bought the deal at about $68 a door for 72 units. So over 80 units, it comes out to about 60 a door, and we're listing it. We're going to list it. Yesterday we told the broker that we're going with it's yours, and we're getting pricing expectations in the 130 to 140.
Wow.
So,
that is a true value add.
Oh yeah, 100%. It was. We thought we were buying like a B plus, A minus type property. We got our hands on it, and the operation side, it was run a lot worse than that, even for 2005 construction.
Right.
So we came in, we spent about, let's call it 5 to 7 a door, give or take, and just turned the whole property. We turned literally almost from the 72 original tenants, we've probably replaced or got out maybe 70, 68 or 70 tenants out of that. So we completely repositioned the entire property and
pretty quick.
And very quick. I mean,
15 months.
Exactly.
You said, right?
Yeah, which we never expected. I mean, we more or less went in there with a guns blazing approach, not even knowing we were doing it, by basically telling the tenants, we're renewing you at X or you can leave.
Wow.
And they left, which
yeah,
it hurt. But even brokers, other people in the business, I have a ton of friends, as you know, that do this, in the business. They're like, how'd you do it so quickly? I mean, you raised the rents almost $300 in 12 months. I mean, you can't budget for that. And I said, honestly, our management team was amazing. We stayed on top of them, and we pushed as hard as we could. And luckily, yes, did we time it right? We bought a property in Charleston at an amazing time,
which always helps.
Exactly, and that's I give credit to the market. I don't pretend like I'm the smartest or the best at what I do. We surrounded ourselves with a great team. Our management team was great. The lenders were great. The attorneys, the accountants, and the market all and we're super excited about the property. We haven't closed yet. We're just about to list it, but it's one that it's going to be hard to let it go.
Yeah,
but it's an awesome story.
That's great. Yeah, that's definitely sounds like a knockout.
Awesome.
So what went into your decision to keep them as condos instead of converting them back? Was that ever a consideration?
Yeah, so we actually did the opposite. So we bought all the condos back to convert it back to a multifamily, as opposed to leaving it as a condo. And I was talking to my partner on the deal the other day. We actually had driving it all back to condos and selling them at 120, 125 a door. And meanwhile, as a multifamily, we're getting, pricing expectation in the 130 to 140, potentially 145, if not more. Mm-hmm. We looked at our pro forma and we said, it's funny because we thought the 120, 125 condo sale would have been like the home run. Mm-hmm. But that was, it was just market help, deal help. It was a perfect storm. Where the property is located on Charleston, it's on Johns Island. It's 15 minutes from downtown, and there's no other properties except for 2 Class A buildings on the island.
Great.
And it was just perfect timing, and it shows how much understanding your submarket is critical to deliver a plan, and that can make or break the deal.
And you mentioned submarket, and you mean the reason being because on that island itself, there was nothing else like it, right?
Exactly. It was, so the 2 other properties that we compete with are 2 Class A buildings. They are 250 units or more, and they're super modern, small, smaller units. Not, we have small units, but it's a different layout. They're just the super high end, and they're charging, the cheapest apartment you can rent is like $1,300. $1,300, and that's when they were leasing up. So that was with a month free and all the concessions. After that, the cheapest apartment's probably going to be in the $1,500 range.
Wow.
And we have 2-bedroom, 2-bath, like roommate style. So you walk in and you have living room, kitchen, and then the 2 bedrooms go off to the side, bedroom, and a bathroom. So we just got a really unique layout. It's 80 units, so it gives you more of a, I guess you could say, more of a private setting. It's off the main road. Actually called it the Forest at Fenwick because it's surrounded by woods. It's more of like an outdoors type feel as opposed to like an institutional quality high development. So we had a very unique product in a market where there's not much inventory.
And it sounds like you identified an opportunity in that submarket.
Exactly. And that's just knowing, we own 160 units in Charleston. My partners actually sold a 288 unit in Charleston. Um, and understanding the markets and the submarkets
Mm-hmm.
allowed us to, find this opportunity. It was brought to us through a friend of ours who just couldn't take, he couldn't take on the workload. So he said, hey, here you go, here you guys go. But, unfortunately, you have to close in 45 days, which we were comfortable with because we knew the market. So
Right.
understanding, knowing your market, you can close quicker, or you can feel comfortable that you can deliver your plan. And understanding that inside the whole grand scheme of Charleston absolutely helped us.
Great. Great. And just real quick, why don't you give us the purchase price when you first?
So the all in, including renovation, closing costs, whole 9 yards, was about 6.3
Okay. In 2016.
in March 30th, 2016.
Okay. And now 1 year and a few months later, the value that you added.
We're getting we're getting pricing expectations between 11 and 12 million dollars.
Wow. Truly amazing.
Yeah, it's we're excited.
Yeah, that's great. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So, okay, now for the fun part. You just told us about a knockout deal you've done. Now we're going to flip the script. Tell us about a deal that you've done that almost knocked you out.
So those are if anyone's never lost money in real estate, they probably haven't been doing it long enough. So
Absolutely.
now we have a deal where I've been on a ton of podcasts, and you know that, and I'm not going to bore you with the little $300 tax lien story.
Mm-hmm.
I lost $300. No one wants to hear that. That's not that hurts. No one likes to lose $300, but that doesn't knock you out.
Yeah.
The deal that we're going to refer to is up in Cincinnati. That was a deal that we were circling for about 2 years, a year and a half, and pricing was way too high. And then seller came down. A broker friend of mine who vouched for us as a buying group basically sold our story to the seller. And the seller said, okay, I'll go with these guys. It was not financeable, so he actually seller financed it.
Mm.
It was a smaller deal. It was less than 30 units. It was 27 units. And we had a $25,000 door renovation plan. We took the building from about 50% occupied down to zero, started the contracting, started the renovations. Out of the box, the first couple months, 2-3 months, it was, just humming. So we closed that deal actually on the exact same day. It was March 30th, 2016, 2 closings same day.
Wow.
The deal got off to a slow start because, unfortunately, the contractor that we had picked, who done some work he did work for us up in Columbus on a deal that we sold,
Mm-hmm.
and he did an amazing job. So we picked him. Cincinnati's about an hour and a half, 2 hours away. He actually lived in Mason, which is a little bit closer to Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
And he came in, bid out the whole job. It was going great. Unfortunately, he actually got diagnosed with cancer.
Oh, no.
Yes. And, unfortunately, he was one of the nicest guys that I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's a shame.
And his cancer, it was expedited. He passed away less than a year after
Oh,
that.
no.
That was tough because he was the guy that I had the relationship with. But
right.
that's how it started. That's how the deal started. So it was just the kiss of death.
Mm.
So what he did, he actually introduced us to his old boss.
Hmm.
And I'll leave names unknown because I'm not here to talk poorly about anybody.
We're here under confidentiality.
And his boss actually came in, talked up a great game, no bad reviews, had great references, and he basically vouched for my friend that bid out the job. And he basically said, I'm going to take all his projects. He's a very good friend of mine. We're going to take care of him, and we're going to just crush his deals. No problem. Out of the box, they demoed 15 units, record time. Then I flew out there. They already had flooring down. They had kitchens demoed, all permits pulled, so they said. And then it slowed down and down. And then from March to November, in November, I got the call that every person in this business is scared to hear is, we're running out of money. Some stuff's taking a little bit longer. So we had an asset manager on our team that was handling this project very closely. We fired him because he did not do a good job. So I took over control of the property in November. Went out there and lost my mind. Nothing was done that was supposed to be done. I called guys. None of them have even met the GC before. No permits have been issued. It was a disaster. I would say we spent net, it was about $400,000 that our contractor charged us, and he probably did about $120,000 worth of work.
Okay.
So that was a low blow. So in December of last year, I have to go back to the drawing board. I have to look all the investors in the eyes in the deal and say, guys, we need a capital call to finish the project. We put it together, and we're suing that contractor currently, it's just no fun. I don't recommend suing because it's lose-lose.
Yeah.
But that's a deal that luckily we're at a basis. We're still able to salvage the back end. I mean, this one originally a 2-year deal, buy, renovate, stabilize, either sell or refinance. That 2-year deal is probably turned into a 10-year deal. We're going to have to go in. Now, luckily, my investors are amazing. I've built so many other properties that they have true faith in me, and I admitted it. And I came to the table and said I probably should have done a better job on the asset manager. I didn't do a good job with him. And the investors actually said, well, with all due respect to you, you told us out of the box you had a lot of money. And the only reason why you were doing this deal because of the asset manager. And I said, well, I appreciate you guys going to bat for me, but in the end, this is my fault. So I blamed for it. I didn't blame the contractor. I throw him under the bus, try and say, well, he stole money. He did, but we could all cry over spilt milk. But, when you get knocked down, you got to get back up. And, we got back up. And, we're still going through that deal. I mean, that deal, I'm out in Cincinnati almost on a weekly basis now. I fly out there every 2 weeks. We have a new contractor on site, absolute rushing it. And it was bad. It was really bad. I mean, out of the 27 units, I would say the guy maybe demoed 12 of them. And,
oh, wow.
And we paid a lot of money for it. And it was shame on me. And what I learned was how not to handle a contractor, a more secure way of managing a contractor and managing funds. But luckily for us, the lawsuit we did file, his partner actually called me while we were doing this call. And his partner, who doesn't want to be mentioned in the lawsuit, he's actually contacted me. He's trying to work out a deal where he's going to either reimburse us or take care of us or something. So
okay,
it's a tough one. And we had super high expectations on returns, and we're going to miss.
Right.
But we'll still come out. We're still going to make money. Luckily, with what saves us is my experience on these type of deals and structuring the deal right with the investors. I told them 2 years, no distributions. So luckily that helped me where it's not like I don't have to call them in 12 months after the deal and say, whoops, nothing yet. So we because I knew it was a heavy lifting deal, I explained that to them. But March 30th, 2016, the best day of my life.
Yeah. Double whammy.
Exactly.
So what would you say for our viewers? You mentioned talking about how to deal with a contractor properly. You had those skills. Could you give more detail about what that means?
Yeah. So I would say anytime you're dealing with a contractor, make sure, I know there's probably a ton of people that are going to be flipping houses, and there's all different types of people watching the show. But hands down, make sure you have an agreement in place with deadlines and penalties. Never give the contractor the money. Try and use an escrow agent or an attorney as an intermediary that basically monitors that contract. So let's just, for easy math, let's say you're doing a $100,000 renovation. It's going to take you 8 weeks. Have a schedule of draws that says after week one, we're going to have the rough plumbing in, the flooring down, and the trim painted. That's going to cost, $7,000. It's an $8,000 draw. It's the money sent to the contractor on approval from yourself or a third-party inspector. Once they sign off on it, you submit that to the escrow agent, the attorney, and that money's sent to the contractor. But that's the best piece of advice I can give anybody listening doing a renovation job. Make sure you have the right place. And if he misses, make sure it costs him money. Where, I was an $8,000 draw and he misses his deadline, he's only getting 7,500, or on the
Right.
back end, you get extra profit. Doing that would have protected us because we would have had a schedule of draws. He would have missed one deadline, he would have missed two deadlines, and we wouldn't have kept sending him the money. But sending our asset management pictures of units, and he went to the full extent of literally taking doors off the hinges and putting them on different properties with different numbers on them to show, oh, here's unit 25.
Oh, no. Wow.
To lie.
Yeah.
It was a disaster. There's one piece of advice.
That's some shady stuff.
Oh, you have no idea. I mean,
Yeah.
I spoke to, there's three inspectors. You have the mechanical inspector, the general guy, and the electrical guy for the county. I called all three of them. I mentioned the guy's name. He's like, we've never even met him. We don't even know what he looks like.
Oh my God.
We've gone so far as to going up to the property 4, 5, 6 times, and no one's ever there. And I was like, why couldn't anyone tell me this, or someone give me this message? It was bad. I mean, this guy just didn't do anything the right way. As I said, shame on me. But what I did learn, and thank God it was, yes, $400,000 is a lot of money. We're going to recoup some of that. But what I did learn is how to handle and manage these jobs. And it's funny we talk about it because we're actually in contract on a 338 unit vacant building in Alabama. And it's the same group of investors that are like, listen, we know what not to do now, so we have added protection. So you live and learn. Thank God it was not a 338 unit in the box. Yeah. 25 unit. But
at least that.
Exactly. Yeah. So, but yeah, if
Silver
there's
lining.
one piece of advice, just make sure you have a rock and spend the money with the attorneys. Make sure your contractor, make sure you have the systems in place, because that's how you'll protect yourself from a bad contractor by, him missing time frames, or, the schedule of draws, and have an escrow agent deliver the money. So there's no third party. There's no emotions in it. It's a guy that's literally in contract and either sending it or not sending it.
Right. Well, that definitely sounds like a valuable learning experience.
It was. And I hope to God if we can, with your podcast, save people some time, energy, and headaches, like, let me be the guinea pig.
And it does sound like, it's ending as well as it can, or it's wrapping up.
No, we actually, once again, another thing,
all things considered.
All things being considered, understanding your submarket, it was another one where the submarket, it's got a lot of juice behind it. We pro form it out an average rent of 800 and 1,000 bedrooms, and we'll probably be closer to 1,100 and 1,300. So yes, where the return would have been that much better, but understanding our submarket and our purchase price and knowing what our basis was, we protected that. And that's why the investors have confidence if something goes a little sideways, because nothing, even the Charleston deal, we had a business plan from A to Z. And I'll tell you, it didn't go that way. There was ups and downs, and there was periods of time where our occupancy went way lower than we expected. But it's having the right database and tool, and people like yourself and mentors and advisors that can get you back on. If something goes a little sideways, who can you call to fix the problem?
Right.
And understanding, if you underwrite the deal properly and the market properly, that's where you'll get the pop. Where we expected to get, on the Charleston deal, we thought we'd get 10 to 1050, 1,000 to 1050 on rent. We were getting 1,150. On the Cincinnati deal, we were going to, we thought we'd be getting 800 and 1,000, and we're going to end up getting 1,000 and 1,200, or 1,100 and 1,300. So understanding the market, what sounds like a scary story, and it hurt, and don't get me wrong, until that project's done, it's going to be, I'm going to know about it. But understanding the market and underwriting properly and using the right advisors and teams and podcasts, understanding that, you can protect your downside.
Yeah.
Your downside is, you're going to get knocked up, get knocked down, get back up, and, figure it out and get it back on track.
Right. And it sounds like that work that you put in before the deal ended up saving you in some respect.
Exactly. I mean, that's the best way to put it. It did save us. Understanding your market and what's going on in your market. Right. It saves you. It saved us a lot, because we thought the building would be worth anywhere between 2.2 and 2.3 when we were done. We have BPOs based on our business plan. in the current market in the 2.5 to 2.7 range.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it cost us $400,000, or it was about $200,000 realistically, but we're going to make that up on the back end of this.
Right.
And yeah, if we didn't make that mistake, would the return have been that much better? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But you live and learn, and I can vouch that most people that you interview and that you will interview and all the podcasts you hear,
Mm-hmm.
A couple of them tell you the negatives. Most it's all rosy, but it's not as rosy as it always sounds. You got to know who's to admit it when they made a mistake and how they rebounded from it.
Yep.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
And that's why we're doing this, to show the world, that you got to prepare for things like this.
100%.
Okay, great. So that's a great story. Are you ready for the rapid fire round?
Of course.
Okay. What's your knockout real estate investing book?
I would say The One Thing by Gary Keller. I just finished, I listened to an audiobook. As I said, education's not foremost, but the audiobook worked for me. And
that counts.
I think it's a great book. I would recommend that for everybody. We actually just did a book review on it for, we have a newsletter every week. The One Thing, awesome book.
Great. Okay. If you were to give one word of advice with real estate, I know you covered a lot, but if you were to put it into one sentence.
Surround yourself with like-minded people and people that can help you, or at least point you in the right direction when you need it.
Okay. What is your knockout way to spend your time when you're not doing real estate?
That's a good question. Sometimes,
if there is a time when you're not doing real estate.
My fiance, she probably wants me to spend a little bit more time not doing real estate. I would say we have a place upstate, Lake George. So we go up there and we hang out on the weekends. We have go up there, peace of mind, hang out, and sort of just put everything on the back burner.
Definitely.
And sports too. I'm a baseball fan, Yankee fan, so it's starting to get fun again.
Great. Yeah, absolutely. Very cool. Okay. Well, John, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
I would say I'm super accessible. One thing, I'll make myself available to anybody. Call me, email me. The best way is email. That's John, JOHN, at Toro, TOROREP.com. I'm sure Mike will put it down in the.
We'll put that in the show notes. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the best way to reach me. If you go on the website, the phone number's there. You can call the office. But I'm super available. Call, text, email. I'll personal goal of mine. I think not to throw my goals on everybody. I'd like to meet 30 new people every month. So if your podcast,
that's a great goal.
A networking event. If you're in the area, we run an event every month. I know Mike's been there, and I'm here to help anyone get to the next level. Whatever that takes. If that's a piece of education, information, introduction I can make. Don't hesitate to reach out.
Perfect. Well, John, it's been very illuminating, our conversation. The biggest thing that I took away was to know your submarket when looking into multifamily specifically, but I think that could be said about any asset class.
Yep.
So it's been great talking. Thanks for being on the show. And it's nighttime right now, so I won't say have a knockout day, but have a knockout evening.
There you go, my friend.
We'll talk to you soon. Yeah.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yeah.